Okay.
And as we had told you earlier in January, the two people that traveled today, what we had is DVT and the solicitor was available for cross-examination at that time, so, and we would offer it now.
Okay, is that correct, solicitor?
Yes.
Thank you, thank you. All right.
Thank you.
It's Tuesday, 13th. This is the opening of the deposition of Charles Stinney in the matter of State of South Carolina versus George Stinney Jr. The deposition is being held at the offices of Simon, Brooklyn, located at 16 Court Street, Suite 907, Brooklyn, New York, 11241. Court reporter is Roseanne Laveau with Diamond. I'm the legal videographer, Zoltan German, also with Diamond. Would counsel please introduce themselves and the parties they represent?
My name is Ray E. Chandler, and I represent the late George Stinney Jr., along with Matthew Burgess, one of our lawyers who is with me now. On the telephone is Mr. Steve McKenzie from our firm, and the Third Circuit solicitor, Mr. Ernest Finney.
Will the court reporter please swear in the witness, and we may begin.
Sir, could you raise your right hand for me? And do you affirm that you will tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth today in this deposition?
Affirm.
Okay.
It's just right after 12, but we've been together for about an hour and a half. How are you feeling, Bishop Stinney? And we understand that we're doing this up here because of some recent health issues you've had would make it difficult for you to journey down to South Carolina. Am I correct about that?
That's true.
Okay. Give me your full name, please.
Charles Stinney.
And you are a resident of Brooklyn, New York, is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. And you are a widower.
That's right.
And you are the brother of my client's estate, George Stinney Jr., is that right?
That's right.
We were talking earlier, you were telling me about your life in Alcolu, South Carolina. What did your daddy do that took you to Alcolu?
He was working at lumber yard.
Is that the Alderman Yard? Alderman Lumber Company?
I don't remember the name right now.
Okay. As a result of his working there, was a house available to your family?
Yeah, they had houses and we would rent from the company.
And in addition, there was a store there for you to buy from, is that right?
That's right.
And like some of us who were raised in industry, we called it the company store.
The company store, that's right.
So you had the store there, you had your housing there.
That's right.
You had some half-brothers, one of whom lived in Pinewood with your mother's mother, is that right?
That's right.
But when you guys were living in Alcolu, there were basically 4 of you, is that right?
That's right.
2 boys, George and yourself, and 2 girls, Catherine and Amy Lou.
Right.
Okay. And at the time that we're getting ready to talk about, in 1944, George, your oldest brother, and Amy Lou was the youngest.
Right, that's right.
George would have been in the 7th grade, possibly the 8th, and Amy Lou was just in the 1st, is that right?
Right.
Okay. And it was in March of 1944.
Right.
And during that time, you lived in what we would call a segregated neighborhood, didn't you?
That's right.
Okay. And the railroad tracks separated where the white people who worked for Alderman Lumber and the black people who worked for Alderman Lumber, is that right?
Well, the railroad, we had, in that particular area, on the side of the rail, it was both black and white. But there's another area on the other side with left and so forth.
So back then in South Carolina, although the men worked together, your
Yeah.
families were segregated, is that right?
Yes, right, that's right.
And it was kind of the understanding that you folk did not mix together, is that correct?
Right,
And that's just the way it was.
right,
You had your own church,
right,
correct?
that's right,
You went to your own school.
right.
Okay. So then, after you guys got off from school, what would you do normally?
We was, be around the house, maybe, playing some activity outside, and then they don't maybe, do our schoolwork and so.
What type of flooring was in that house?
It's a wooden floor, far as I can remember, quite some time ago, as I remember, it was a wooden floor.
Was it 3 or 4 rooms for all 6 of you?
It was, the kitchen, it was our bedroom and living room, and we was, the kitchen and a bedroom in the living room, we sleep in, the boys live in the living room, family live in the middle room, between the kitchen.
So with 6 of you in there, it must have been pretty
It
crowded.
was pretty quiet.
You probably didn't have very much privacy, did you?
No, we didn't.
And we talk about that day in March on the 24th. Do you recall very vividly, I'm sure, exactly what happened in your family? So the normal day would have been you'd come back from school, right?
Right, that's right.
And the cow, that your dad kept cows and pigs and chickens, right?
Right.
And he farmed vegetables.
Yeah, right,
And that was kind of how you got along, wasn't it?
right,
You got milk from the cow,
right,
and your daddy had the vegetables.
Right.
You bought your stuff from the store.
right.
And so this day, you recall George had a chore, and what was his chore as the oldest in the family?
I don't understand.
It had to do something that, who took care of the cow after school?
It was George, he was taking care of the cow.
And how would he take care of the cow?
Well, after he got out of school, he would, get the cow installed and so forth, and take her out to graze.
Okay, and so cow would go out to graze.
Right.
And how far about from the house was that?
It wasn't wasn't too far.
Okay, well, if you stood at the house, like say you were telling me that y'all didn't misbehave much because your daddy knew everything that was going on, right?
Right,
And so if you were near the house, were you able to look out to the area where the cow grazed?
right, we can see it, because it's right in the same area.
And so if you went to look for George, or you went to look for Amy, you went to look for Catherine, there would be a small area that they would be in.
Right.
Is that right?
Right,
Were your mother and dad pretty good disciplinarians? They kept y'all in line?
that's right.
And you told me that your brother George might have been the smartest of the 4 of you.
He was pretty smart.
He was a good writer,
Yeah,
good writer,
good writer.
and he helped y'all with your homework.
He had, a lot of homework.
And you told me that George was, although he was 14, he was not really developed. Is that right?
Well, he was still kind of small and so forth.
Right. He was a small child.
Right,
And I think you said we were all pretty small then.
right,
Basically, it was 4 children,
right,
running from about 6 to 14.
right,
Okay. And your mom and dad, you said your daddy knew everything that happened, so if anybody misbehaved, the word would have gotten out. By the
Right.
time he got home, you just had to go tell him.
that's right,
And you did. Is that right?
that's right.
And I think you indicated to me that George was pretty well behaved,
Right,
and that he was kind of acted responsible for the younger children.
right, that's true.
And that none of y'all really enjoyed taking the cow out, did you?
Well, occasionally, if George was available sometime, I would do it or something, but he's not available.
And so this day, as you recall, George took the cow.
Right,
And your recollection, you told me in the car, was as clear as day about this. Is that right?
right,
That next 72 hours was something you'll never forget.
that's true.
So where were you when George started to go with the cow to graze?
Me and my mother went to the company store. I went to do some shopping with her.
And you were gonna help her carry the stuff back?
Right.
Because you had to walk?
Right.
Okay. And that store was about how far from where you lived?
Maybe a half a mile or something.
You had to walk the half a mile and shop and then tote the stuff back?
Right.
It would have taken you, you said, an hour or so to accomplish that, is that right?
That's true.
Okay. Now, Catherine was not home then.
Catherine, I don't know, I can't remember where she was at that time.
But Amy Lou was.
Right.
Now, when we talked in the car, you said that your mother would not let Amy Lou stay around by herself, is that right?
No, because otherwise George would take care of her and be there with
You would let your mom, because he was the oldest,
Right.
his job was to take care of Amy Lou
Right.
while your mama went shopping.
Right.
Okay. And so that day, the 24th, your recollection was, where did Amy Lou go?
Well, she went with him to take care of the cow and probably.
The cow had to graze.
Right.
Y'all milked it at night?
Not at night, in the morning.
In the morning?
Right.
You can tell I wasn't raised on a farm. And so you take the cow out to graze. So your mama had gone to the store. Amy Lou went with George.
Right.
Now, when you got back from the store, were you helping your mother carry the stuff in?
Yeah, we whatever we had, we help her take it in.
Okay.
Right.
And so when you got back, when was the next time you saw George?
Well, this was she had been home by the time we got there.
Okay. Were they back there when you got home?
Far as I can remember.
Okay. And when they came in, were they together?
Yes.
Okay. So Amy Lou didn't come in, and then a later time George came in.
No, they come back together.
They came back together,
Right.
and I assumed that Lizzie made it back with them.
Right.
Right. So George would have then put the cow up.
Right.
Right. And then come back in.
Right.
Okay. Now you told me that later that afternoon, that evening, there was a party, as you recall.
Right.
A neighbor party where
Right.
people would get together at their house.
That's right.
Right. Do you recall going to that outing?
We all went.
Okay.
My whole family went over that night.
Okay. And so George was there as well.
That's right.
Okay. And when was it that you first learned that evening that there were two young white women missing?
After the party that night, after we went back home, and somebody come tell them that they was missing.
Okay.
So all the neighbors and my father and all the rest of the community went out looking for them.
Okay. And so your dad was part of that
Right.
group. And at some point, it was learned that these two girls had spoken with Amy and George.
And there was some flower, something I think it was, and they said they didn't know nobody not there, so they went on their way, kept on going.
So to make sure I got this right, while Amy and George were out with the cow, these two girls came up looking for some flowers to
Right.
pick.
Uh-huh.
And they did not, the flowers were not in that area.
Right, that's what it is.
And so Amy and George had told you that the two girls left.
They went on their way.
Okay. And shortly after that, Amy and George brought the cow back.
Right.
Okay. So after you went to the party, everybody was at the party, did y'all just come home for the evening?
We come home in the evening.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you about how many outfits of clothes you guys had back then to wear.
Not many, because at that time they didn't have too many clothes. So.
And when George came back, if he had had blood on him, you would have noticed it.
Right.
Okay. When Amy came back, did she seem upset at all?
No.
Having a sister that was 4 years younger than I was, you recall that if anything had happened out of line, Amy would have told it.
Right.
She would have been the first to tell Mama.
That's right, that's right.
Okay. And sometimes you don't wish that was happening,
Mhm.
but it's a reality.
That's right.
She would tell it, right, on Mama.
Right.
Your Mama switch you off.
Well, she probably did more than our father did.
And so, other than the fact that they had seen those two girls, from the time you saw George come back with Amy and with Lizzie,
Mhm.
through the time that he went to the party, right?
Right.
And you guys learned later that these girls were missing. Did George's outlook or attitude change at all? Did he act any other than he would every day?
No, it still seemed the same.
And so, were you there when they took George away?
No, I wasn't there. My father, Catherine had to go to the hairdresser, so he told me to go along with her.
So, Catherine went to the hairdresser.
Right.
And you went to be with Catherine.
Right.
It's kind of like George with Amy.
Right.
Right? You kept up with Catherine and,
Right.
you know, and George kept up with Amy. Is
That's
that
right.
Okay. So she's at the hairdresser, you're with her.
Right.
You come back, did you find that not only George was gone, but your other brother was
Right.
gone? Okay. And how did your mama act in fact?
Well, she wasn't home either. She was in Sumter.
Okay.
And somebody must have told her. And when she come back, then she was driving back, and then she was very upset and called us hard and everything, because she was very upset.
She was hollering and crying.
Right.
And was your mother, your father, or any of the members of your family able to go see your 14-year-old brother between that time that he was taken away and the time that he went to trial?
No, no.
How long was it before your second brother was let go and come back?
Well, I don't remember, because I don't think he come back at the same time, because when we had to leave that same night, I don't remember him being with us. I think he must let him out, but it was put him on someplace else. So,
Was he living in Pinewood?
not him, he was living with us.
Okay,
Right.
all right. So, but your recollection was that your other brother, not George, was released
Right.
and came home.
No, I don't remember him coming back home.
I got you. But he was released
Right.
at that point. So when the men came, they took two.
Right.
Okay. And what was your other brother's name?
Johnny.
Johnny Green.
Right.
Okay. He was your half brother.
Right.
Okay, I got it. So Johnny and George got taken away, and Johnny came back.
Right.
Did you ever have a chance to speak with your older brother, George Stinney, again from that time?
No, never. I never seen him and never talked with him again.
But your parents went to see him
Right.
in Columbia.
Right.
And a few months after that, after his trial, he was found guilty, right?
Right.
And your mama went to see him.
Right.
And when she came back, was she still very upset?
Well, she seemed, when she told me, she seemed calm. I guess she just had to just calm herself down from. But when she went to see him, he said, let her know he wasn't guilty.
Told your mama he didn't do it.
Right.
And did they have any money to hire anybody?
No, we didn't have no money for a turn.
Well, when I was visiting with you earlier, you told me that very soon after this, some alderman managers came to your house and told you all you had to go home.
Right.
You had to leave.
Right. And same night they had to leave.
So the same night that after they found the girls, they told you you had to leave.
Right. So my parents had to leave that same night, and although we had to get up, pack up everything, and catch the train, go to my grandma.
So was that kind of a hurried, y'all left in
Yeah,
a hurry?
we had to go that, we had to leave that same night.
Wouldn't let you stay at all?
No.
And your grandmother was over in Pinewood?
Pinewood.
Okay. How did your dad act about this?
Well, being a man, he didn't show an emotion like my mother did, but he kind of kept things coming. But it was kind of hurting.
You were afraid, weren't you?
Yeah, we didn't know what.
You were concerned
Yeah.
for your safety?
Yes.
And you remember that night now, don't you?
Right.
Very clearly.
Right.
And so when you went to your grandmother's, all of you, how long did you stay with her?
We stayed in because we never come back down. We didn't went back to Alcolu. My father, he went to until he rented something and he tried to find a job there. And then we were able to but I never did go back. Father went and he picked up stuff from Alcolu, but I never go back.
And you were telling me that no police officer came and looked through the house.
Oh, yeah, after they did come and look, at that time my mother had already come back, and they come looking for evidence or something, for our clothes and so forth.
So at the point, and I misunderstood you when we were talking.
Right.
At the point before the police, the men from the mill came and told y'all to leave.
Right.
Some policemen or people had come and searched your house.
They didn't search the house, but when they come, when they arrest him, and my father wasn't there, but at my time my mother come, that's when they come looking in the closet, looking for clothes and things, but they didn't find it.
They were looking for
Right.
people's clothes.
Yeah, looking for some evidence. And
Did they take any clothes out?
they was looking to it, but it was not that I remember they took.
Nothing they took. Okay. Did you have a chance to talk to them, or being 12, you just got out of the way?
No, they didn't say nothing to me.
Okay. Steve? You wanna ask any questions?
You said the events that you're talking about, they're still fresh in your memory?
Yes, it is. Still fresh.
Okay. And, I think that Ray asked you earlier about the clothing that you guys had, and, can you tell us again about the clothing?
What? They was looking for clothing and so forth, but trying to find some evidence, but it wasn't the clothing. It wasn't found. It wasn't no clothes on it. What my father about working and everything. It wasn't no clothes showing up. Lord.
Let me ask you this question. Did you have a set of clothes that you either played or walked in, and then you had a set of clothes that you went to Sunday school in or Sunday or church in?
I didn't understand clearly.
Steve, you kinda got an echo. Would you say it again? I'm gonna let Matt translate.
I just said that, about the clothing issue, and did they have, a set of clothes that they walked and played in, and did they have a set of clothes that they went to Sunday school in?
Yes. Had clothing for when they go to church, and then they had regular clothes that for every day.
And I think Ray was asking earlier about the, seeing George that day, and that he was with his sister Amy Lou. And that I think that, the bishop said that, the entire time that could he see Amy Lou and George from the house?
I didn't understand.
Say that last part again, Steve.
Could he see
You can see it from the house, but at the time we wasn't there, because we went to this store. Right.
You said you could see them from the house, but he and his mother went to the store.
Steve, let me interrupt you here. When we were talking in the car, you said that there was a tower built up by the Alderman Company so that somebody could watch the lumber yard
Right.
and keep people from stealing or coming and going.
Right, there was a tower that had a watchman that he could look all around the lumber yard, look in the area where we was, and he could see everything. Anything go wrong, he could be able to see it.
And could you see your house and where the cow grazed from that watchtower?
It certainly could.
Ray, the one thing else I think that needs to be covered is the fact that he and his family ever have an opportunity, did anyone ever come to them and talk to them about testifying and giving this information back in 1944?
Did anybody come to talk to your family, you, Amy, Lou, your mother, to figure out where George had been or not been? Were you, any of you ever talked to?
No.
And Ray, also, why has it taken so long for him to come forward with this information? Can you cover that with him?
Can you see?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, Steve?
Why, if the bishop could explain, why he felt it was so long to come forward with his information, maybe ready to cover that with him.
Why it's taking so long for him to come forward with information?
The question is why didn't you come forward early with that information?
See, at that time, we didn't have no one that we could actually talk to about that. And when I was in the service, and by the time I left the service and come back, I didn't go back down there anyway. My parents were still there, but I just didn't go back.
Well, was there an element of fear from the time that these people came to your house and told you to get out in the night? Was there something as a young child, 12 years old and older, that you were afraid of what might happen to you?
I just didn't feel comfortable down there.
Okay.
So I just left.
Solicitor, you have any questions?
Yes, just a few. Good afternoon, Bishop.
Good afternoon.
Bishop, I'm the prosecutor now in Clarendon County, and I have a responsibility to ask you a few questions to just test what you have told your lawyers today. My understanding is that this crime happened on a Friday afternoon, and they found the bodies on Saturday morning. Do you remember whether you went to school that day, that Friday or not?
All of us went to school that Friday.
Say that again?
We went to school, we all went to school that Friday.
Do you remember what time school would have been?
I don't remember at that time what time school was out, but it was a certain time that everybody got at the same time.
Now, my understanding is you did not go to school with any white students. There were just black students in the school.
Yes, only the blacks and others had different schools.
Did you go to the same school? Was it a one-room schoolhouse or was it a big schoolhouse?
I didn't quite understand.
Was it a one-room schoolhouse or was it a big schoolhouse?
Well, it was it's like three. We had one was kind of separated, and with others that had two rooms.
Would you have been in the same room with George when you all went to school that year? Or were you in different classrooms?
George was in another room, and I was in a different one. It's according to grade.
He said according to grade.
He was in a higher grade.
George was in a higher grade than I was.
All right. Bishop, let me ask you this. After, I understand you all had to leave, probably as soon as Saturday night, you all had to leave your house to go to your grandmother's house.
That's right. I had to leave the same night.
Do you have a recollection of your family reaching out to any community people or preachers or anything during that time to get help?
No, not at that time. We did. First, I know my family, and I don't know if anybody reach out.
Do you remember ever hearing that your family went to any community leaders in the white community to get help, to get to get an understanding or any investigation or a lawyer or anything?
No, not that I know of.
All right. Let me ask you one more question.
Is that his question?
After George was killed, was there a funeral?
Yes, it was.
Where was the funeral?
In Pinewood, South Carolina.
All right. And did you attend the funeral?
Yes, I did.
All right. And was he buried in Huntsville?
In Pinewood, yes, he was buried in Pinewood.
All right. And after the funeral, did you and your family members leave South Carolina? Or did you stay in another city in South Carolina?
We stayed in another city. We moved to Sumter, and we stayed until my father passed in Sumter, and then my mother, she passed up here in New York.
All right. How many years after the funeral was it before your father passed?
Oh, he lived quite a few years after that, because he lost.
So you all went to school in Sumter for quite a few years.
That's right.
All right. Did you graduate high school?
No, I didn't. I went to ninth. I only went to ninth, and then after that, I went into service and met my career.
All right. And you were quite sure that no police officers or investigators came to your house either that Friday night or that Saturday after the body to look for evidence or to ask questions of what you all had been doing for the past few days.
Nobody questioned us on anything.
All right. I very much appreciate you answering my questions, and I extend my sincere condolences to you and the family.
Thank you very much.
Brett, I do have one follow-up question from Chip's questions.
He said Ray, I have one follow-up question from Chip's question.
Sure, that's fine, Steve.
All right, if the bishop could tell us, was he around or any family member around to attend George's trial?
Were any of your family members around to attend this trial?
Well, nobody attended trial for us that I know
Does he know whether any member of the African American community was allowed to attend the trial?
of. If any, nobody attended that I know
I think that's all the questions I have.
Thank you, guys. I'm through.
Are we concluded?
We're concluded.
I'm gonna go now, so we go off record, okay? We are off the record at 12:40 p.m. and November 5th, 2013. This concludes today's deposition of Charles Stinney. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
May God bless you.
You can go ahead and stop it, Gerald, thank you. Okay. Sir? All right.
If the court please, I apologize to the court and the audience, that sounded like mission control. In the beginning of the deposition in Brooklyn, the telephone went off, and they had to put a cell phone in for these guys to hear, and that was what we now learned was the static. I apologize, that was awful.
That's fine, and there's a reverberation going around right now as we speak. So anyway, I see our technical people are working on it, so I appreciate that. Okay? Who is your next witness?
We have a deposition witness. We need about 5 minutes with the solicitor. We have 3 pages we need to reconcile. It'll probably save us about 10 minutes of testimony.
Okay, and who is that next witness that you're going to put up?
Can we do it right now? We'll be ready to go.
You may, sir, but who is the next witness?
Dr. Stevens is the
Thank
witness.
Thank you, solicitor. I appreciate it. We'll go ahead and we'll take about 10 minutes or so. We'll come back just a couple minutes after 4 o'clock, all right, and continue. Thank you. When do you want to see the person who's phone? Tell her bring her back right now.
Yeah, we can see.
Sure, if they want to. That's fine. Yeah, that's not a problem. It's so funny. I had to look at him to finally see she was twirling.
Ding, ding.
I know. That's where it picks up.
He's right here.
I mean, you can hear those guys.